All right, what's up, y'all? Today we're gonna be interviewing the amazing artist Firelei Báez, Lukas and I. I'm Raf, part of the TAC, Teen Arts Council program at the ICA. We're here, teens from Boston, the greater part of Boston as well, all coming together once a week, indulging in arts, creating with one another, and working towards events to help our community, to help ourselves, and to help everyone that get involved with any form of art or anything like that, and really get exposed into the art scene in Boston as well. And I'm here with my co-host Lukas.
Hi, my name's Lucas. Yeah, I'm also a part of the TAC. And before we get started we have Firelei Báez here, and who has work in the ICA and new installations in the Watershed. So before we get started with our questions, if you want to quickly introduce yourself, how are you doing right now?
I'm Firelei Báez. Hi, everyone. I've been here all week, and you're seeing me kind of like falling apart after installing for a very long time. It's a very labor-intensive process. Everything that is made has been created by hand by myself and a very extensive team. So it's a labor of love by a lot of people for you guys to see when it opens this summer. And I'm very excited because it's coming. So if this is a rendering that the vision of what we were going to do, and it's so close to this, it's eerie, it's magnificent. So
yes, a lot of the rendering pictures look amazing. It looks, I don't know, it looks so surreal. I can't wait to go look at it sometime soon. But if we want to get started into the questions, we can start off now. I really like to know, have you always been invested in the arts, or did it come on later in your life, or anything like that?
So I have this memory of being like a 4-year-old and on a very rainy day, standing outside, on the window ledge with my yellow umbrella upside down to catch the rain, and just thinking of the sound that I really loved and using this tool that would have been to protect you from rain, from being wet, to just capture the environment. And I think that moment sort of expands how I interacted with the world and what drew me to art making. This idea, it was a thing that helped me mediate the environment around me. I went to a different school from kindergarten to high school, which meant a lot of moving around, getting to know different people. And as a deep introvert, I am the shyest person in the freaking world. It meant that I was reading books and I was making every new room into something that felt like an extension of my imagination. So for me, as an adult, I can see that as art making. I was trying to bind my books. I was trying to write my stories. I was trying to make castles out of the mud in my grandma's backyard, climbing trees, falling out of them, all the different things that brought joy, that as an adult, I use now, that curiosity to make work. So with that said, I didn't think I was going to be able, even though I joined every art club and made the posters for the class and all that stuff, I didn't think art was going to be possible. So I actually went from high school to the local community college, and there we were required to take an art elective. And during that art elective, the teacher told me there's a free art school in New York. You should try it out. And that's how I ended up at Cooper Union. She didn't say you might never get in. They only admit certain amount of people. She was just like, it's free, try it out. And that looseness allowed me the freedom to just go for it.
Yeah, I think that's amazing that opportunity was opened up, and that was so loose. And I think so much goes into your work. I noticed all these vibrant colors, and your interactions with the world are kind of reflected in there. So there's all these themes of healing and resistance and kind of reclaiming power. So I was wondering, what comes first in your process of making? Is it the theme or is it the material?
Yeah, so it's very rarely a clear demarcation of either or. I use my work or my daily experience as a filter that then shows up in my work. I feel like the result is richer for me not putting many barriers on what I want to create. The only piece, or very rarely do I have something where I'll have a clear idea and then execute that idea within those same exact parameters. There's a series of self-portraits I did over 2 years where I just sampled like the forearm, the tone of my forearm and the silhouette of my hair. And those were to kind of explore ideas of race formation or rules of race formation both within the United States and the Caribbean, and how many times they seem like dark mirrors of each other. But navigating them, you then have to become versed in them. That for me felt like an extension of the violence inherent within those tests. So the work that came afterward was an expansion of that included my interiority, that included my daily lived experience that perhaps had all the nuances and psychic guards that were maybe necessary for navigating through those constructs.
And I guess, do you have a work that you think best reflects everything you've described, or just in general, like a favorite work that you've done, and how does it kind of speak to you and your audience?
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and it's hard to choose just one thing. So in terms of encapsulating the what I love doing, the Siguapa series does that. There's one piece in particular that I'm very excited by. It's an ode to Drexia, and it's this watery abstraction where I have multiple layers of figuration. So if you look at it for maybe weeks on end, you'll find all the figures. There are some that are clearly demarcated that you can see maybe like the profile and the hair floating in the air. But it's this place where I could revel in mark making, revel in like the environment. A lot of times when you do these big pours, I'll just have this thing that acts as a bridge. It's a giant skateboard that I go over my paintings, and I just hover in like 4 giant amounts. And my studio tilts all towards one corner. So then I have to move these like 10-foot things all to go and flow in exactly the right direction. And that one was a perfect summer day where things dried just right. And I had just the right layers of paint to go, and things worked out. So that, if I had to say, that painting for that moment.
I do want to kind of open it up to a Q&A and give people the chance to ask questions. So I'll hand it to Mintu for that.
We're going to do a Q&A, so feel free to ask any and all questions that you have.
All right. So yeah, my question is there something you want to do in terms of art that you haven't done yet? And why haven't you done it?
So one of the elements that I was really looking forward to in this piece was to add a performative element. And of course, because of the pandemic and distancing, that's not possible, but it's something that has always been implied in my work. The figures in my piece always seem as if they're about to do some kind of gesture. So that's something that I'm very much looking forward to, activating spaces with performance. And one thing that is new that is still happening is adding the element of sound. I'm someone who uses my studio as almost a lab. It's like this, play mad scientist space where I get to explore different ideas. And when I feel like they are at the right moment, I'll show them to the world. But sound and performance are definitely 2 things that I'm adding to it.
So we have one last question in the chat from Hibby, and they said, how difficult is it for you and your team's installation process?
It is a lot. And it means that we have to have several MacGyvers. I don't know if you guys know that reference, but mad genius scientists coming up with solutions on the fly of how to solve things. but it's the idea of like creating like magic solutions out of nothing. And there are several geniuses like that in the team here that just, part of it is this, this angled wall. It's about 30 degrees. And imagine having to paint on it like this and having all the things, gravity wanting all the material to fall on you. My hair is full of paint. You might not be able to see it right now. But as much paint as you get up there, you get on you. And it's negotiation of gravity, of the environment, and materials. Very tricky, and it looks effortless in the end. A lot of fighting gravity.
Thank you so much, Firelei, for being here. We learned so much. It was super interesting, and we really all just appreciate you and your time. So thank you.
Appreciate you all, and hopefully I'll see you guys when this all opens. Thank you.